Hi everyone. Welcome. If you're a new subscriber, and I noticed an influx of some new subscribers, so I need to find out who did a shout out. So if you're a new subscriber, please forgive me. This will be one video about death among many. But I also do plenty of other videos about tarot and oracle and spirituality and all sorts of things. So hold tight and don't feel bad for skipping this one if it's not something that's for you. That said, today's video is about what to do when you've had a difficult diagnosis, either whether it's yours or whether it's someone you love. And it's a hard topic to talk about. It's a really hard topic to talk about. But it came from a viewer request from my end of July video where I talked about death a little bit at the end of that video. And I will generally offer those timestamps and things on videos because I know that it is a triggering topic that not everybody feels okay to talk about, and that's okay. You know, we're all in different places with that process. However, as I've made multiple different attempts at creating this video today, it's become really apparent to me that the key to being with all of this is about really holding a very, very loving, gentle space around the process of all of it. And so I'd like to start by going into greater detail about that and about what I mean. You know, what do we do? What do we do when someone we love is is given a difficult diagnosis? Or, how do we make a decision if you're ill to stop treatment and stop seeking life-preserving treatment if there is a potential if it's obvious or really apparent that the body is probably not going to survive it, that either the illness or the treatment is going to end that person's life. The only thing I can really say about it is that choosing hospice, right, choosing to end treatments and confront death by saying, you know what, I don't, whatever's going to happen, it's a surrender. It's a surrendering to what's really going on, what's really happening. And it's a choice to live your best possible life, knowing the reality is that it's shortened or that it may not be very much longer. That said, I feel like sharing this one situation and my response to it might also be potentially useful. So I have a friend who is a counselor, or so does a lot of counseling and social work, and this person didn't want to tell me couldn't tell me much about their client, just wanted to know, would it be useful for me to have this client contact you, because I'm struggling to get through to this person in a way that's maybe as helpful as I'm hoping to be. So the client had been diagnosed with stage 4 bone cancer. And the client is a father of 5 kids and really in denial of his mortality, and in denial of the fact that the bone cancer may kill him, and that in fact the The diagnosis would indicate that that's a very strong probability. The person, this client is in total denial that that's even a thing. And I don't know this person at all. I've never met them. I can only take the words, the impressions of the friend that was talking to me about this. And their impression was that this client was completely in denial of their mortality and of the diagnosis, and refusing to think in terms of, what do I need to do for my kids? What do I need to do for my wife? What do I need to do for myself? And instead desperately seeking anything that's life-preserving, anything that would slow the cancer down, etc., which is a normal reaction. Neither of us have any criticism, obviously, of this person. I've never been in that position. I don't know what it's like. I have no idea. However, like many, I have had several friends die of cancer. No family members to date, but several friends. And choosing what to do in those circumstances is so highly individual and so dependent on so many different personal things. But what this counselor friend of mine was hoping would be that I could help talk to this person about just what value there could be in talking about death and just facing it as an idea, and as an inevitability, right? Because it doesn't matter whether we die in 15 hours or 15 years. We are all going to die. Okay, every time we walk out the door, there's a possibility that something could, or even just walking around in our home, right? That something could end our lives. We don't know. But it is reality, right? It is a possibility. It's always a possibility. And, it's not a possibility that we can always prepare for. Many deaths are very sudden and come out of nowhere. But where there is a possibility to look at it and contemplate it, there is also the possibility of changing the quality of your life as a result of being willing to confront and reconcile with the inevitability of death. And just because we do that doesn't mean that we're going to die. We can confront the reality and the inevitability of death at any point in our lives. It doesn't have to be around the experience of our own mortality or the mortality even of someone we love. Many of us have experiences where we recognize afterwards, wow, if I had moved a quarter inch this way or that way, I could be dead right now. And I've had several of those incidents in my life that I've really, in retrospect, miraculously survived. Really miraculously. Like, I shouldn't be here. Statistically speaking, based on some of the things that I've had happen, I really shouldn't be here right now. But I am. Somebody who's been given a diagnosis of stage 4 cancer shouldn't, necessarily be here a year from now, but it happens all the time. And I would imagine that if I were a father of 4 or 5, I think this is a father of 5, that would probably be what I would be focusing on, because my kids and my wife need me. And by being willing to surrender to the fact, not to give up, very different thing than giving up, but to surrender to the reality of the fact that my own mortality is the moment. This is the moment. The moment is I am being faced with my mortality because of this diagnosis. And I am now forced into a relationship with death. If, facing it doesn't mean that you're going to bring it on any faster. It does not mean that you're going to bring it on 1 second faster. What it does mean is that by being willing to look at it, by being willing to face it, by being willing to see it, that instead of living your life from a place of fear of death, which means that you can't ever be fully present because there is a lot of energy being put into pushing something away, right? Of not doing, a lot of energy can be put into that, into the no, I'm not doing this, that could otherwise be invested in love, that could otherwise be put into the people in the relationships of your life that bring it meaning and richness. So that instead of putting so much energy into the fear and into the pushing away, the energy goes into loving this life, this what's here right now with these beautiful people in this ineffable moment that is temporary and will never come again and will never be the same again. And being able to really be present to it from that place of love. What I can say about my own experience of that is that when I'm able to do that and be with that, in my life and in my relationships, everything is different. It's better. The love is not something then that is far away. It's something that's very present, that's really, that fuels the moment, that stretches time. When I'm in those moments with people in my own life or just with myself or in an experience alone, time can stretch and it can open and unfold in ways that are almost transcendent of ordinary experience in the most wonderful ways. The reason that is so critical is because it heals. When people do healing work, when they do energy work, that is the vibration that they're bringing through. They're bringing through that open space, that open, timeless compassion that is transcendent of individual egoic self and selfhood. And it is the energy that comes through, and it is the energy that heals. So the irony is that by facing death, by being willing to confront death himself, this person, this dad, this father of 5, has then opened the possibility of healing. And that is the vibration that, if the cancer will go away, is going to support its remission, is that energy. Because none of it is being, he's not drawing death closer through fearing it and yet thinking about it all the time while trying to push it away, while trying to have positive thoughts, while trying to think positively, right? Supposing that, we can't control this stuff. We really can't. We're not in charge. But supposing that it doesn't stop the cancer, that it is his time to leave this life and this body, it will also open the possibility of healing and creating more loving, open, available space to enjoy and really be with the people he loves the most. And it gives him the opportunity then to love those people in his life in a way that is deep enough that it can, really reach them and become the lasting memory of their relationship with that person. When we choose not to confront death around illness, a difficult diagnosis, old age, and usually some kind of illness that seems, in old age that seems to create, a knock-on effect of poor health that goes downward. What we're doing is, creating a situation whereby the constant rushing to save the life, right, to preserve the life, rather than to make the physical being more comfortable, more relaxed, more at ease, more peaceful. The energy, again, pushing death away by seeking out life-preserving treatments and painful interventions. Is that the way you want to spend your last moments on earth? Do you want to spend your last moments on earth fighting against death, which is always with us, every day, all the time? Or would you prefer to have a more peaceful relationship with it in favor of loving life at the same time? Because not to love death, but to be at peace with death is to be fully available to life. Fully. So, that's really the choice we're making. So do I want my last moments on earth to be ones that are peaceful, where I'm in a comfortable circumstance and the people that I love can come and go and visit and spend time with me, and the times when I'm awake and alert, I can really be with them and really love them, knowing that this is inevitable, knowing that those are going to be goodbyes, knowing that those are going to be final interactions. But maybe less traumatic, the kinds of goodbyes that create peace, that are cathartic, that allow us to say goodbye to somebody in a way that we know leaves our relationship at peace. That's a privilege that most of us don't ever get. It's a privilege. It means that somebody didn't die on the street of a sudden gunshot wound, where there was no ability to make peace. Or they didn't, die suddenly in a car accident, or die of a completed suicide. Those are the kinds of deaths that are very, very painful to reconcile. So if there is an opportunity for there to be a death where we're able to really be with the person who is going through the process of leaving the earth, and most people in my experience know that they're dying. They have that sense at a certain point it has occurred to them. Now, obviously the dad I'm talking about, maybe not. But, at some point they know this is it. So do we want to use that time knowing that it's coming, that death is inevitable, pushing it away and pushing the people we love away? Or would it be more peaceful in the long run to be able where it's possible, where people in themselves can, to bring love to that space. In the same way that we would gather around the birth of a baby, right, and welcome that baby into the world, wouldn't we also want to welcome, or send someone back out of this world with the same kind of love, with the same kind of gratitude and appreciation and profound life affirmation, if it's possible? Situations that I have read about where people beat the odds with cancer, with a stage 4 diagnosis, long term, usually come about because they have made the choice to confront death on a really profound level and make peace with it. So it's a win-win. Very often it seems that there are people who will go into, they're usually young, it's usually not their time. They will usually go into exile for a period of time to reconcile the diagnosis on their own. And the process of that, which I'm thinking has to involve profound confrontation, is what opens the space for healing and transition. And it is completely possible if that's its purpose. And the only person that I think can ever really know that is the person who is experiencing the illness. So, yeah, that's what it comes down to. Confronting death is a way of accepting reality. And it's a way of opening our lives to greater possibility, knowing that what we have here is temporary, impermanent, and a profound opportunity for love. If any of you have questions, or if there's any way that I can be at all supportive, if you're going through something or having grief, reach out. If there's a way I can put people in touch with resources or information that would be helpful, I'm always willing to do that if I can. Be in touch. My email address is in the About section of my channel. Thank you for watching if you've gotten this far, and I wish you tremendous peace and tremendous love.